cover liberation just have vastly different understandings of what liberation is for.
I haven't seen this much importance and attention.
The story itself is a really wonderful, really great setup.
Tractor beam has been engaged.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tractor Beam Comics Reviews on the Star Wars Underworld Podcast Network. That's right, the flag is back because Mike is back. Today is Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. It is the 33rd week of comics in the year 2024. Rolling right along, 33rd, not quite 52nd, but gotta say, Chris, this is issue number 100 and episode number 50 since when I did this. Can you imagine? We've gone 50 since the writer's strike, since the actor strike.
Yeah, those crazy times of the writer's strike. Oh my gosh, there's so much that has happened in this year, basically. There's
so much that's happened in this week. So we'll get to that eventually. All that. Do the quick plugs out of the way. Matthew, and he's Chris. You can follow on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at Ion Cannon Pod, EYEONCANONPOD, and on the Ion Cannon Podcast right here on the Star Wars Underworld Podcast channel, or YouTube channel rather. That's 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Joel, this past Monday was talking about Tales of the Jedi, and this coming Monday he's getting a certain guest on. This backdrop will probably look familiar, but wonder who that could be. But yeah, that's the plan. At least we'll see. Who knows what happens? But so that's where I am at. And then you can follow Chris on Twitter at StarRaptor and at YouTube.com/StarRaptor StarRapter. I'm reading it from your thing there. There we go. You got the Outer Rim transmissions. Are they going? You're going this week?
Yeah, we're going to do a pre-recorded episode because I'll be away for the weekend. But you can expect that at the usual time. It'll be uploaded on Sunday at 7 p.m. So Eastern.
That's over there. I have managed to put the link to your YouTube channel in the notes down below. I've finally gotten around to that.
All right, appreciate it.
There you go. A few more plugs to get through. Discord server, Star Wars Underworld Discord server. Also the link down below. I'm in there. Chris, you're in there. Joel's in there. Ben's in there. The gang is in there. If you want to tag them, tag Joel and ask him what his favorite Marvel show is. There you go. Now tag him and ask him what his theory on the cancellation of She-Hulk season 2. No, that's a joke. But we're all in there. So check that out. I don't know. I think they do game nights and trying to do some film nights, but not the other. And then one last plug. I know I'm zooming right through because we got lots to get through here tonight. So talking a mile a minute. I have my decaf coffee. That's what I'm doing here. Over on the Star Wars Culture channel. Our good buddies Culture Slate Network and Culture Slate Fandom Fam. Ion Cannon was initially part of that, and so was Star Wars Underworld and branched off. We're definitely in cahoots. Marty, who does the thumbnails for every single Tractor Beam episode, I believe the last 50 Tractor Beam episodes, he started his own Star Wars show called Star Wars Culture Live.
Cool.
That aired right tonight on the Star Wars Culture YouTube channel, so check that out. I believe that I'm guessing it's going to be every Wednesday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. I could be wrong about that, but do check that out. Give them some love. Marty and Ian, fellow named Ian, chatting about Star Wars and trying to be positive, especially this week, which is an interesting exercise. Trying to be positive this week. It's important to be positive in light of the haters, and I'm gonna get to that a bit as well later on because I wanna. Is how this works. The Tractor just. We talk about the comic books and then we talk about other things if we wanna. Because we're talking about comic books. We're also going to talk about. I'm going to talk about Fan Expo Canada, which is going to be fun, exciting. Starts tomorrow. This time tomorrow, I will have been done day one of Fan Expo Canada, and I will be at the Toronto Argonauts versus Saskatchewan Roughriders football game. But the CNE. But yeah, it starts tomorrow, so definitely excited for that. I will be there all 4 days. So if you're there, if you happen to be there, come say hi. I have no idea. I'll, come say I don't bite. Dom will be there as much as he can as well, and yeah, we'll get into some of that at the end as well. Okay, we're a comic book show though. Comic book reviews. We have 2 comic books to talk about tonight that came out today. Our Republic Adventures #9 by Daniel Jose Older.
Oh, this hurts.
Art by Tony Bruno. What hurts? All right. Art by Tony
Acolyte.
Oh yeah. You know what?
Like, come on. Like I that's the first thing I thought of when I was sitting confront. I'm like, oh, we're gonna have to put up with this every month, aren't we? We're gonna just have to like get Lucasfilm just hitting us, Disney hitting us in the face with this Acolyte. Like, we'll save it for later, but I have a lot to say. But anyway, we'll get all the positive news here.
We got positive news, positive comics news.
Yeah.
We'll say good on them. Keep on the branding. Keep them with the branding. Anyways, High Republic Adventures #9, written by Daniel Jose Older, art by Tony Bruno, colors by Michael Attier, cover, as you can see, by Harvey and Kevin Tolibao. Zine, Lula, and their team are looking for allies to join the battle against the Dastardly Nihil. Those Dastardly Nihil. Their search leads them to an audience with the founding families of Eriadu. But Marky and Rose accomplices in the capital city won't make things easy. This one was fun. This was interesting. I mean, it was interesting, in light of issue number 8, and then when Eriadu just goes, or I guess the Stormwall expands, and Eriadu happens to just be in it to overtake Eriadu, which is probably part of the point. And then the Edge of Balance that references that fact, and then of course right here back at it with #9, and it's a great snapshot. This is an all ages comic, but Daniel never going to shy away from the complexities of politics, and never going to shield younger readers from those complexities. And yeah, I mean, you have, and I can't help but bring up the real world parallels here. You have I forget his name. So first of all,
I have it written down. Hold on a second. Trag cool.
Yeah, Trag cool. They're all Tarkins. Tarkins here, there, and everywhere. Tarkins are the leading family on Eriadu, as we figured they would be. But he's in there chatting up the chamber and basically gaslighting everybody into saying that the Republic never showed up. Of course, the RDC had a base there, as we know from the insider shorts.
Yep.
But saying, okay, taking advantage of the fact that the Republic is blocked off from helping Eriadu. Of course, there are ways to get through the Stormwall now, but it's still an obstacle. And to see Zine and Lula and Farzala, and the whole gang really confront this. Yes, there's a bit of brawn needed, but also a lot of smarts. The niece of Tragcool, forget her name, Severum. I think she's been hanging out with the Jedi. Apparently, I didn't quite notice that, but she's suddenly alive and she's in favor of the Republic, and so there's all these complexities about who's allowed to speak in this chamber and who has standing and legal rights and all these questions. And then at the end, there's this really, I mean, it almost seems a bit out of place, but then having followed Daniel's Instagram, I think I understand what he's doing here. There's Eriadu City, which is rich and gleaming and well respected, and there's this other town, I forget what it's called. I should actually bring this up.
Bifrang?
Bifrang. Yeah, Bifrang, which is all run down and it's all poor, and they basically have the option, either they bomb the crap out of it or they put up a wall and let them all starve. I think Daniel's making some real world implications here. Again, if you follow his Instagram, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, again, shielding, looking at the the political intricacies of this and the way it's tied up with family, and yeah, again, thinking about this in terms of, okay, what do Zine and Lula and Farzala uh, and them do, and seeing them really step into their own, seeing them really step up and being confident. And Zine and Lula, they want to go dancing, but so they end up going dancing by fighting denial, effectively, that are on the doorstep. And then, of course, the as Farzala, he's able to step up in the chamber and actually say what's what in this context. But then, of course, the prison warden comes and he gets equal standing, and so there's this both sidism also going on, I think. And so, again, I don't have necessarily too much more to say about this, but it was an exciting issue. It was a fun issue. I do have more to say about the ongoing. We'll get there in a bit. But, yeah, I enjoyed it. Again, thinking good. I always like to see the political lore, the lore drops of just how these different planets function. Again, it was to use character, to show character moments through this. Lastly, again, to say, okay, this is a pattern in the galaxy. This really made me think of in the Clone Wars, for example, like on Mancala, where the Republic either is doing their best or they can't. You have the Quarren who are there; they're allying with the Separatists, and they're fudging the truth. And we're supposed to, of course, read this from the Republic side, and like this comic, we're supposed to cheer for the Republic here. The Separatists, the Nihil, they're fudging the truth a little bit, or at least this Tarkin guy, he's kind of fudging things because he's probably wants to make room for the Nihil to join and to be part of it and gain from Markian and all that. But yeah, it was just to continue that pattern of why and how different worlds, different countries in our world can ally with different blocks, even if it goes against maybe the kind of the established peaceable order. It was good for a. I think, is this 9 of 10? Are there 10 issues? Or are there more issues? This one, right?
We don't even have an end date.
We don't have an end date.
No.
All right, good.
It's going to go until probably the High Republic is over, I would imagine.
Yeah. So, all right, so we got lots to go in this. It was a good change of pace too. Just again getting to the chamber, doing the politics and whatnot. So anyway, that didn't have too much to say about that one. I'm guessing you have a lot more, so go for it.
Oh yeah, this was fantastic issue. Oh man, when it comes to Star Wars, that adds depth to the political and the hierarchy and just the ins and outs of a planet. This is a masterclass work here by DJO. I mean, I love how he has really this felt like a Clone Wars episode. It felt like that episode with Dooku in the Senate for the CIS and all that on Raxus. Felt like a lot like that. The detail to stuff that I picked up on as little as like, oh my gosh, this Trackle guy is wearing this like animal skull thing on his head. And why that is important is because going back to the 2017 novel James Luceno wrote of Tarkin, the Eriadu people are very much survivalists. So we see this even reflected in Darth Vader issue number 17 of the 2017 run. I think I'm pulling out of my head correctly, where Tarkin is just like, oh yeah, we're going to go get hunted by Vader or something. Like, or there's something, but it's so cool to see that reflected in the lifestyle of these people. Like, yes, even these people here are respecting their culture by, showing that they are not just prim and proper delegates and people in the government. Like they get their hands dirty. Like they're out there in the rough and tumble. We get the governor as well, which was interesting. We have the governor, which is very much reminding me of like an imperial type of garb, very much imperial officer looking garb. So that was interesting. But yeah, it was very cool to see politically how these people maneuver, how they're able to speak. It's not just the Tarkins. There's other people there. I did not write down the names, but somebody I think had like a Z, a Z, whatever last name. So you have other peoples, but the Tarkins are the ones in power. And Sevran is the character that is the friend of me, Zine and Lula, and the stuff with Zine and Lula was really cool because I don't know if you picked up on it, but there is a character from another High Republic story that is like one of the pseudo leaders of that Nile gang. The name is Dridget,
right?
And Dridget is from Escape
Valo.
from Valo.
Yeah, she's from Valo.
Yeah, but isn't that the book? The middle grade book is called Escape from Valo. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that was neat to see her popping up there. Not only her, but I was ecstatic when I seen that the Emmerich Kafter was there again. And then this great interchange of when the Nile are like attacking him, and he had said something ahead of time, like "watch your hand" or something like that. Don't touch me. And then the guy basically lost his hand because then. And this is fun going back. Is that your girlfriend? No, it's not my girlfriend. But Cian is there with a sniper rifle, just snipes the Nile's hand, and it was just like, all right, this is some good action. And then I don't know if you notice as well, but Lula has a different kind of weapon. She's not using a lightsaber anymore. She's using this like double-bladed, what do they call that? Like vibro sword, like a double-bladed like vibro sword. So that was neat because we get to see her with this new fighting stance, but they're breaking into the Seswana Hall, and then that's when we see the issue end with all of the Nile ships converging on Bifrang City. By the way, I want to give kudos to Lucasfilm and everybody for going back and giving us something I've missed for a long time, and that is the Galactic Database has returned. I like when they do those little one-page splits of, okay, this is the lore. This is the lore of Eriadu City, which I think that's the first ever mention of that place. So it's really cool to see a more urban kind of lifestyle of these people. And you get to see Zine and even Zine and Lula make a joke. They're like, why haven't we ever heard of this place before? It's like kind of like the viewers or the readers like, oh yeah, I've never heard of this place before, but it makes sense. Seswana sector is a pretty big sector in the Outer Rim, and this is basically the capital city on this planet. Eriadu City is where you get the government, where you get the things made. But the idea, again, going back to these people, I love this complex idea in a all ages book, this complex idea of these allegiances of like, oh yeah, we're cut off from the Republic, but and we're still part of the Republic, but we don't really like the Republic, so we're taking this as an opportunity to maybe make new allies. And the freaking general is there. It's like, wait, what is this guy? How are they possibly letting this jerk into this place? You know, the same guy that was controlling this prison that we rescued all these people, and he's there trying to pretend like, what the heck is going on? So there's a lot of cool things there.
The first thing I'll say is, whenever you do Eriadu, especially and before Tarkin or during Tarkin's life, but also especially before, before Williff's life, you're still cluing in. Okay, this is the environment that this guy grew up in. This very gruff, very patient but ruthless guy grew up. Who, when the Empire shows up, he just takes it on and says, even in Clone Wars with Anakin, the dialogue about how authoritarianism may be the way to go. We can have the freedom to crush our enemies as much as we want, and to shift our alliances as much as we want. Yeah, the callback to that creature that it's the great valorous kind of rite of passage. Yeah, that he kind of this guy keeps on banking on it, right? His ancestor to Williff keeps banking on it. Now Williff, to his credit, doesn't necessarily, but we know that that's an important part of his story as well. And so yeah, for someone to kind of coldly play with the facts to want to for Tarkins, for Williff's ancestor to coldly play with the facts in order to say advantage his own position. Clearly, I think he wants to ally with the Nile. He thinks Markian's going to reward him for that. He may or may not be right. We'll see. But he's willing to do that. It also reminds me of Rogue One, where, while the Death Star is kind of failing or is an epic failure, he's happy to let Krennic take the blame. Then once it finally succeeds, he immediately takes over after Jedha. So that kind of ruthless, cold environment, that's the expectation that he's grown up in. This is, of course, going back 230 some odd years and saying, okay, what is this culture like? And it is complexified, right? There is sorry, water bottle almost slow. there is there is the niece, and then there's her I guess the matriarch, who is more wizened and has the head on her shoulders, and then there's the twin brother who just comes up and plays all Gen Z and just doesn't kind of obfuscates the situation, but for our hero's advantage. And yeah, it's kind of funny because that's very not Williff like, that character. And so interesting how he sits, that twin brother sits in the culture as well. He's probably also an outcast to some extent. That with Lula, it makes sense. She's clearly moved on. That conversation with Emmerich was really fascinating, because he hasn't been updated, and that's the thing. It really shows us just how big of a deal it was for her to leave the Order. I think a lot of the Knights and Masters who know Lula and know what happened with her memory and just know the relationship with Zine and the willingness to just go and take action would rather be part of the RDC. They're more sympathetic, and it's not that Emmerich isn't sympathetic; he's just surprised, understandably. And so because it is a big deal. Even as a Padawan, she's just about to be knighted. So she's clearly she's not undercover. She's wearing wearing other combat gear or whatever. Yeah, she's not using a lightsaber. She's using the vibro blade. She's still using a blade. She's not using a blaster necessarily, but that might come to. It really does underlie. That's a great spot that it underlies that transformation. Again, the character moment, Lula continuing to be amidst all everything that happened, everything that's happening in this story. Xena and Lula continue to be at the center of it, and that's very clear that Daniel and the creatives have set that as the goal and the focus, that they're succeeding, even though I don't feel like we've dropped them, even though we're also focusing on other characters. I don't know. You have any further thoughts on this one?
No, we have a lot more to get into, so I think it's good and prudent if we continue on to Star Wars 49.
Good call. Ongoing number 49 of 50. We know it's ending, and we know we have a sense of now how it's going to end. We'll get into that. Dire circumstances for Leia and the Rebel Alliance. The last remnants of Alderaan have come under threat from an old enemy. Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa could save these few survivors. I forgot to do the credits. I'll do that in a second. Save these few survivors of the destroyed planet, but the Princess of Alderaan must choose between her people and the Rebel Alliance itself. It's written by Charles Soule, art by Jethro Morales, color by Michelle Rosenberg, cover without any Leia on it by Steven Segovia and Rain Barreto.
There's two things about the covers. Two things I have about the cover.
Go for it.
So where the heck is Leia? I mean, that's the main thing there. It's one thing if you have like Vader on the cover with a lightsaber ignited and he doesn't ignite the lightsaber, like that annoys me sometimes too. But they got Luke right. You don't see C-3PO or actually I guess you do see them all on the last page.
Yeah.
But
Leia's the main character of this issue.
Yeah. But
odd choice.
Something that really burns me. I just noticed it on the back of the cover. There we go. More salt for the wounds.
Yeah.
Why are you calling it the hit Disney Plus series if it got canceled? Really, guys?
Because they printed that before the show aired, is why. They printed it, not just released it. They printed it for the show. Anyway, go ahead, take it away for ongoing.
Oh yes. So this is a good, straightforward issue. I think this is a nice way to, because for better or for worse, like if you think about it, this is the last time we're going to see Leia in this era. I'm pretty sure, because our next issue is going to be basically, for the most part, it's like Luke. It's a different time frame. This is the last time frame in present day of this time, because we're gonna have Luke reminiscing to Ben Skywalker, Ben Solo, about his events, whatever. So this is basically, okay, this is the last thing of the Alderaanians. And what I like about it is seeing Luke in action, seeing Luke, as we have mentioned in the Darth Vader comics that he's in, seeing that wise Luke, seeing that Luke that you could definitely tell he is ready to walk into Jabba's palace very confidently and stoically confront Jabba the Hutt. And he's ready. I feel like just that really cool things, a really cool Star Wars action, such as busting out of an escape pod in space, flowing through an airlock, and proceeding to just wreak havoc in middle of this hangar of one of my favorite Star Wars ship designs, by the way, the Corsair class Corvette for the Empire. And General or Commander Zahra was there, and we get to see her backstory. Pretty tragic. I mean, it was pretty gruesome seeing like the acid just burning off her arm and burning her face and then getting her legs. She's been through some stuff, man. Granted, this is several months later, right? Yeah. We in our real time, it's been several years, but this is a 1 year gap. This happened in the closer to Empire, never closer to Return. So we get to see how revenge really drives people kind of insane.
Yeah,
as we see with her fate is at the end. But I love seeing the resolution of what Leia learns from this Alderaanian survivor and able to kind of translate that to her current thing. Her current group of friends and buddies are like, yeah, we're going to take this. You only live once, and let's go after Han. And I think that was a great ending. Like, okay, you see the hologram of Jabba's palace. They're ready to begin. So we have now bridged the gap successfully there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of action, but there was a lot of heart to it and a lot of good theming at the end with Leia's monologue, which I really enjoyed a lot. So yeah, I like this one.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very strong issue. Interestingly, so my thought, I'll start at the end here, because I mean, isn't issue number 50 also going to involve, from what I recall, it's going to involve the Alderaan fleet. Now we know they're dispersed, and we know they've just decided to not necessarily be able to kind of give up any sense of unity as a people, just actually physically being together. Kind of until kind of what I thought was suspected was once the Empire falls and it's safe to actually be Alderaan again, then they will. I'll say this: I saw this, and I rarely get goosebumps from comics, but I really got goosebumps from this. I just the drive, like you said, about Leia not giving up being Alderaanian, but being able to have layers and being able to have complexity. That this arc begins with her being all, I'm a princess and I'm a rebel and I'm a general and I'm all these people, and a friend to Luke and Lando and Chewie, and in this complicated relationship with Han, who's in Carbonite, and all these different identities. And this moment here, let's go get Han. All of them come together and focus and coalesce into not so much just one uniform thing, but she's going to get Han because she's in love with him. She's going to get Han because he's a key rebel asset. She's going to get Han because this is something that, as friends, they can all do together. All these different reasons, as we see, come together and ultimately work out on Endor, right? This great victory. that Han has a major part in. And,
Yeah.
Where he confesses to her, the "I love you, I know" part, the reverse of the Empire line, and so yeah, really showing her strength. I think this is my sense. It says, it said to be concluded. I don't know. This is me being
Huh.
a bit of a clowning. It's a Taylor Swift reference here. I think that's what issue 50 is going to be about. Is those deleted scenes about Luke with his lightsaber. The deleted scenes about how they get from this point here. I guess they're on home one.
Yeah.
To when we first see them in Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
That's my speculation.
Oh, it's gonna be so cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see like them like arriving on Tatooine in a Falcon, and it's gonna be so nostalgic. I'm gonna probably I'll be honest, I'll probably immediately put like Return of the Jedi on like after the podcast that week.
That's kind of my plan. It's when that's done. Watch it. Oh, it gotta come out. It's gotta come out next month, I guess. So that's again my speculation there. Another, just reading these two comics together, you have the environment that Wilf grew up in, and you have his legacy, and how his legacy is actually very tragic in Zahra, right? There's all this thing about, am I not worthy of my mentor? So that's why I call Tarkins in space. That includes Zahra. She's in space. She's kind of a Tarkin.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a joke, but yeah, like you're saying, it's Tarkin, but it's also Krennic. To this revenge to the bitter end. Why, just like Krennic with the Ersos and Maul with Obi-Wan. And I'm not saying it's derivative. These are all unique stories, but again, another archetype in Star Wars coming. That she can't just let them go. She has to try to turn on them at her own peril, and of course, Leia regrettably has to give the order to fire. And I think that moment there is actually where things start to coalesce, right? We have that order, and then she says in the just immediately then there's the scene with the Alderaanian in captivity, or not in captivity, in exile. Alderaan survives, but then there's the resolve to go get Han. Yeah, really, it's a really great, turned into a really great Leia story, even though she's not on the cover of the thing. But I'm also really glad I read the 2015 comic, because to know who it was a great choice to have this this kind of redskin fellow.
Yeah,
who they are. They're Alderaanians who interbred with another species, so they're still Alderaanians. They still, I mean, oddly enough, so by and large, they're accepted as Alderaanians. The character that Luke and Leia find in Zahra and Yvonne find in Stasis, who happens to be dead, the bait. That character is actually the more kind of xenophobic one, who didn't accept them. I don't know if that's intentional or not.
Wow.
But just say this kind of touch point of saying it's these characters. It's more costly, I think, for this character, the more the kind of offshoot variant of the species, if you, I don't know what we call it, this other community, the interbred, but still very much,
they call it like near human, because that's apparently what Dryden Voss is. He's not actually human, he's a near human.
So but that, like, basically another ethnicity of Alderaanian. It's almost more costly for them to say, for him to be the spokesperson for this, to say costly in that they've actually given up this thing that actually tied them to the rest of the galaxy beyond themselves, and now they have to go find something else that'll tie them to the rest of the galaxy beyond themselves. I'm suspecting it will be the Rebel Alliance and the New Republic. We'll see. I don't think this is the last we've heard of them. That's kind of my thought here. But if anything, to see that it ends on Alderaan survives, because that's how the 2015 arc ends. It was just this Alderaan survives. Then it was Alderaan survives by them banding together and hiding. Now it's Alderaan survives by them going dispersing and
Yes.
doing the best they can.
Yeah, they're
wherever they
basically
are.
they're basically saying like we don't have to just be Alderaanians.
Yeah.
We could be something else as well. And that's where like I like how Leia takes that and puts that into her speech at the end with her friends to like rally them to go get Han.
Mm-hmm. So, and again, it's also interesting, you know, when this first comes up, this arc, I think, okay, yeah, it's nice to see her remember and us to remember this is part of who she is, her upbringing as Alderaan, and that does inform the rest, as she mentions. You know, her parents were committed to the cause. I think that's what she says in this, right? You know, that's part of why she commits to the Rebel Alliance is because her parents do. We're talking about Bail and Brea, of course, and for that to be a remembrance, but then again, she can move on and be a citizen of the wider galaxy. That, I mean, when the New Republic happens, and just the last thing I'll say is just thinking about it adds another layer, you know, in Bloodline with the statue, with Bail's statue. Yes, that is, you know, this is of course a few decades later in the New Republic. You know, Bail is being remembered as a hero of the rebellion, a hero of the New Republic. So Leia dedicates a statue on Chandrila, I believe, or Hosnian Prime. But adds this other extra layer to how she remembers her family as, and it's obvious, but it's coming, bringing it together again. It's she remembers them, yes, as the Alderaanian values and courtly values that are also benevolent, that Yvonne also embodies, for example, but also then to say we have a responsibility to the wider galaxy, and that we are citizens of the wider galaxy, citizens of the Republic, and that the two are never contradictory. They're always in sync. The thing that is contradictory is Alderaanian and the Empire, and that because the Empire is against those values, and against the values of citizenship and community, being neighbors, that Alderaan always seeks to be. And so that is how Alderaan survives, by them not worrying so much about Alderaan anymore. It was a really fascinating twist, actually.
Yeah, no, it's cool because they're tying into a lot of other lore that got introduced in like canceled video games and whatnot. It's like, oh yeah, there was this Alderaan survivors and the Imperials were hunting them down. You have the Imperial hunter fleets that were mentioned in this that Commander Zahra was in charge of. So, you know, it's cool to just see everything get kind of tied in as we move into the post-Return of the Jedi era, when there is no Empire. These people can come back. And like you were saying before, I would like to see this picked up on a little bit. Like what happens with these people when the danger is not present anymore? The Imperials have been toppled. So
there you go. I just want to point out, so this is the cover for issue 50. I don't know if we can see it. Oh, well, you can see it. So yeah, I mean, Leia's in there.
Wow.
And if we look, I don't know who this guy up here is, but yeah. So Leia's there. She got the gun. So this maybe, I mean, we have this the Galaxy of Adventures, whatever it's called, the kids shorts. How she gets the boosh.
No, that's the Force of Destinies.
Force of Destiny, yeah.
She gets the boost armor, so I'm assuming that's going to happen like right after this issue.
Or they just fit that in, or retcon, or who knows what. But
maybe they'll retcon and have it in the issue tomorrow, next month. Like
that's what I'm wondering. Is something like this real bridge to get us there? But then again, I mean, that is interesting. Then that kind of underlies the choice to make with the framing device.
Yeah,
you know, Luke is saying to Ben, "Oh yeah, this is how your mother saved your father," in a way, right?
Yeah.
And then to say, okay, but the what my point with the framing device is, it means you don't necessarily have to do too much character work in the actual stories. And that's fine. All the character work was done in this issue. For
Yeah.
Leia. Well, not all.
You mean
but
it's gonna be more
most.
like a plot thing?
I think so, and that's fine.
Like this is how we get from point A to point B. There's not a lot of development here in the characters. It's just these are the answers you guys have wanted for 4 years. Here we go. All in one book. I feel like that's kind of like except for the Bothans, there's no way they're gonna be able to fit that all in. There's no way we're gonna get the Battle to Nab. I hate to say it. I feel like that's gonna be like the thing what we got from freaking Empire. Oh, that bounty hunter on Ormentel. We're never gonna see that guy. Or girl, whatever.
I can see a novel. I can see a novel.
Yes. Let's finish issue 50, and it ends with and tune into Charles Soule's novel in 2025. Like, yeah.
Guy doesn't sleep. Guy doesn't stop with Star Wars. I would not put it past him for a second. Yeah. So yeah, that's what was I gonna say? Yeah, I think what my point being, if it doesn't have to do much character work, having it the flashback, the framing device makes it more interesting.
Okay.
Does make it more character, like it's character wrinkle, because this is reminding us just in our minds, oh yeah, here's Ben. Here's also the Jedi lore of Luke and the lightsaber. And that'll be from that fleet from the Path Drive crystal, all that, tying that back in. But yeah, it'll be. I mean, when I'm hoping there's a bit more with the lightsaber, because like more character, more interesting character depth. Remembering back to is it this right here where Vader bleeds his lightsaber, that character moment for Luke to not bleed a lightsaber or bleeds his crystal, then for Luke to say, this is me constructing a lightsaber that I used to confront Vader, but the lightsaber actually ended up chucking. Yeah, great character moment. To Vader, to Anakin's grandson, Anakin's son telling Anakin's grandson, this story that of course Charles wrote. So I don't know. I'm kind of speculating wildly here, but that I would like to see. Yeah, I'm talking about Luke constructing his lightsaber and what that means for what he tells Ben. Yeah. Any more thoughts on 50 or 49?
That's got to be the thing, right? Is we got to get the lightsaber construction for sure.
Yeah, and
that's
it's only like in this one. This is whatever issue that is. It's only a few moments. It's only a few pages, so there's room for that.
There's definitely room.
Yeah. All right, you ready for it?
Yeah. Wait, no, I'm not ready for it.
Okay.
Let's do the more positive comic news first.
Okay. Well, okay. I was gonna be all.
It relates more to this now than it does with the Acolyte.
I was gonna be all get the side news out of the way, but okay. Well, we'll call the audible. We got some happy news. Battle of Jakku. I got the smiley thing here. Battle of Jakku. New details for the second arc in the Battle of Jakku. Republic Under Siege. Numbers 1 and 2. Those released November 21st and 28th.
Yes.
So again, a reminder. They're just coming thick and fast.
Awesome. We're getting them week to week. Heck yeah.
So this first, the fine folks at the splash page doing the forces work, alerting us from the solicits, and so this is listed on the on the Marvel.com. It's from Marvel.com as well. So I'll do that. Also show this is right. You should say the cover version number 1.
Wow.
Wrong way, wrong thing. I'm doing it.
There we go.
No, I don't know. It worked. I found a way to figure it out. Close enough. Good enough.
Who do we know who the cover artist is on these? Because they are incredible.
Torrin Clark. There's a cover art here. I don't like this. We're too small. Why is there not the option? Anyway, okay, whatever. I give up. This is issue number 1 by Torrin Clark. Of course, this comes out November 21st. So, and we got the description already, and I'll read that. It's probably going to be too much spoilers for me, but I'll go for it anyway. So this is Star Wars: The Battle of Jakku, Republic Under Siege, #1, written by Alex Segura, art by Stefano Raffaele and Jethro Morales, of course, cover by Torrin Clark. Still reeling from the events of Insurgency Rises, Luke, so the first arc, Luke must seek out a relic that could hold clues to the future of the Jedi Order. Luke Skywalker and a new friend find themselves cornered. Can two Imperial powerhouses find common ground against nascent New Republic? Where are Han and Chewbacca? Read Chuck Wendig, by the way. The heroes find themselves saved in the nick of time by a fan favorite star and guest star and ally. And who is that fan favorite guest star and ally, do you ask? It's Charlie. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Star Wars Battle of Jakku, Republic Under Siege #2.
Wow.
Luke and Dr. Aphra join forces to fight off a surprise attack as the remaining Imperials plot their next attack. This cover is also by Torrin Clark, by the way. Luke Skywalker must battle his way through a gang of force-focused zealots, a faction of Imperial survivors.
Oh, I know who that's going to be.
Yeah, okay, well.
Acolytes of Beyond.
Maybe. A faction of Imperial survivors plot to return the Empire to its past glory and hint at a huge struggle to come. Can Luke survive against a giant swamp rat? As the defined Imperial consolidates his power and allegiance,
I know who that is.
He discovers a traitor.
That's Governor Adelhard. I can put money on it.
Okay, is that from the video game?
Uprising video game or mobile game? Yep,
probably. The Force Focus Zealot. So it could be the Acolytes of the Beyond.
I remember them mentioning that they were going to be in it, so I'm pretty sure it's them.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Then
but who is this rebel pilot? I'm just noticing her for the first time. Do you think that's Nora Wexley?
Let me see. It could be Yvonne.
Yeah, it could either be Yvonne or Nora Wexley. Or Nora Wexley would have to be on Akiva, I guess, right?
I mean, yeah, or they could figure it out. I mean, that's
before the Battle of Jakku, I would imagine.
Where Han and Chewie, they're on
Kashyyyk.
Life debt. Anyways, I do have some quotes here, so I'll keep this up. Also, Chancellor Mothma herself is right there, so that's nice to see that as well. So here's some quotes from Alex Segura. Let me just take a swig here. I'm talking a lot here. So Segura said, our story will be epic in scope, involving all the major characters you love, plus some new exciting additions to the mythos. We'll not only give readers a front row seat to the final battle of the Galactic Civil War, we'll reframe the aftermath of the Battle of Endor and introduce a new menacing threat that will keep our heroes guessing. The goal for all of us is to turn up the volume and make sure this adventure stands shoulder to shoulder with other stories of the era. As the Empire collapses, a new darkness arises. Editor Mark Benicia promises, within the chaos and destruction of all three series, there are elements that hint to what comes next. All right,
Well, you would imagine if they're saying what comes next, like chronologically, the next ongoing is going to have to take place after this one.
Yeah.
Doesn't take rocket scientists to figure that out by context clues. So, and I think that's also where the Luke and Ben Solo stuff comes with in issue number 50. I feel like Marvel Comics is kind of prepping us to be like, yeah, that might be kind of like where we're going to end up in with like maybe Luke and his freaking awesome Jedi Academy. That'd be amazing. But I gotta say, man, I'm surprised that there's not more than one writer on this. I'm very shocked that Alex Segura, and I love what he did with Poe Dameron, but man, this guy's got a lot of weight on his shoulders. I mean, think about it. This guy's not dealing with just like random side characters. Like he said, this is epic. He's dealing with all the mainstays in Star Wars right after Endor. Like, oh my gosh, like I don't know if I would want to have to write this story, because I would feel so crushed by the anxiety of knowing that I was going to be orchestrating the future of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I mean, it isn't. I think also this is Republic. It says Republic. This like the image I did get from the splash page, so I don't know. Anyway, I'm just gonna check. I'm gonna see one thing here. No, this is Republic. I don't know. That could be. type of thing. Anyway, so I'm just noticing that random thing. Whatever. Yeah, so I mean, it is a big deal. I don't know if he's necessarily writing the ongoing. I mean, this is definitely a bridge. So only 9 issues. That's about the length of a novel. But you're right.
Wait, 9? Wait, I thought it was. How many are in each
12,
miniseries? Isn't it 4?
Yeah, so 12. You're right.
Yeah.
12 issues. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if that the length. Yeah, I get that the characters it's the heavy hitters, like they said.
Yeah.
Including Shelley, right? She's become the most beloved paper first character of all time. And so to carry her forward, I will say that fits. I'm happy she's actually joining with Luke again.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's not out of left field. We've had Luke and her work recently together.
So, but her trajectory since leading up to the end of Alyssa Wong's run, really moving towards the heroic, really moving towards not letting failure as a disaster being an excuse anymore. That she isn't going to let down her loved ones anymore. She's going to let down her friends. She's going to let that be, not let that being an excuse. She's actually going to take responsibility. And again, she's probably still going to have wit. She's still going to have the acerbic tone, but it's probably going to be blunt. I mean, that got tiring after a while, and I think as a character, she got tired of it, and going through everything with the Ascendant and with the oh my goodness, the Shadrafan character that was living inside her brain. That whole thing, that was probably one of the most interesting parts of Hidden Empire and Dark Droids and all that.
Yeah, but I look at the Afra character now with what Luke is doing.
Yeah,
makes so much sense. You have a rogue archaeologist that is going to be finding Jedi artifacts. It's like people have been wanting to see Max Van Sydow's character, Lor Santeca, being the one with Luke. I think it makes even more sense to have Dr. Afra teaming up with Luke in these first couple months afterwards, and like, all right, they're going to team up to find and investigate these ancient Jedi temples. Like, it's right there.
Yeah, I mean, we know, from Adam Christopher's Shadow of the Sith, Lor Santeca and Beaumont Kin end up helping him out. But yeah, I get Shelley in there for sure. Again, like you're saying, that's her speciality. Weird Jedi Force stuff is her speciality. Gang of Force Zealots. I hope Alex Serger gets the tone, because there's a very specific tone with Shelley that Luke can counterbalance. But again, this is Shelley. This is Shelley grown up a little more. This is Dr. Afra grown up a little more, and she has Sana, she has Magna, she has her father to take care of, and those are just saying those are ties. Maybe she also has the New Republic to care about. She has, as in she has a hope for the future here. And that's why I'm thinking this is the most interesting bit of news, is that this is where she lands up. Not because it's surprising, because actually is. This is what I was hoping for, but for that to be confirmed, now I'm thinking, okay, let's go. Let's actually see her, what it's like for her to really want to commit to it. So it's saying, yes, her expertise, but as to why does she join up? Why does she join forces? Again, against remaining Imperials. Maybe we'll see some of that even in the first arc. So, yeah, and then the article with the new menace, different villains, different characters. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I'm already excited for this. I get it. It might not live up to the hype, but again, that's the thing. It's only 12 issues. If it works out, give him the keys to the car to write the next ongoing.
Well, I just like the idea that we're getting these things like every other week, or in some cases week to week.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
We don't have Star Wars comics doing that. It's every month or sometimes even longer.
Right.
So to get that kind of resolution where it's like we don't have to wait that much longer every week, it's going to feel great to just get into the story and get 12 issues. That would normally take us a whole year. We're getting it before the end of the year. This whole story will be concluded. So that's really a nice cadence that I'm looking forward to, because it's not the norm.
Yeah, it means they had to just figure out the workflow and the schedule. But yeah, like just of planning it out and drawing it out. Looks like they figured it out, which is good. I mean, that's maybe why they, having the gap with the next ongoing, just all figuring all that out too. Yeah, I'm excited again that we're also not being left in the lurch.
Yeah, that could have easily just been like, oh yeah, you guys are going to wait like 4 months for the next.
Exactly. So you're not being left in the lurch. We actually have news stories, not counting the adaptations. They're doing decent work on those, but those don't count, frankly. Like, this actually counts as them giving us something. So yeah, and yeah, the great details with Afra seems to be again the biggest news here. But looking forward to this book. Any last thoughts before we move on?
Nope.
All right. Okay. Now it's time for a little bit of a funeral here. Yeah. We got to talk about it. A little bit here. It's been 2 days since the news came out. And so, my first reaction was just really disappointed and angry and annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first part, just
yep.
Here's a show that has so much potential. And my first thought honestly did go to the Phantom Menace ruined this, right?
Yeah.
Now what is possible a little bit is that the Phantom Menace at least dampened the enthusiasm for it, and so that it has some influence, but really we can't give them any quarter. It can't be that. It has to be the most reasonable thing, both Joel and Dom have talked about this, is simply they're moving away from streaming to films. They're moving from streaming to at least big budget live action, moving away from streaming, saying okay, let the animated be streaming, let the films big budget, because it's just not worth the money unless it's something that really would drive subscriptions to Disney Plus. And so part of the issue is the business model, was the Chapek business model didn't really bear out, because you're paying a flat fee for all the content anyways.
Yeah.
You're not paying, if you and I in October, if we go to the Alamo, we're each paying separately to go to see a movie in the Alamo. Let's do that, by the way.
Okay.
I just put that out there. But I've never been to an Alamo before. But we're each paying separately to see this. So I get, even Marvel's probably looking at Deadpool Wolverine and saying, how much more did that rake in than did the subscriptions to Agatha All Along, the buzz there.
Yeah.
It's not gonna. So again, I get it. It's just, first off, I do think the language of canceled is appropriate. I know, I understand why, again, not to give quarter to the fandom nonsense, but say, this was in development. Leslie had ideas. She had a story in mind, and the end of season 1 very, very clearly, and it's unmistakably, unambiguously leaves off, and all it does is set up future story. What is Osha and Kymer's story? What is that Yoon Sith Lord banker doing, creeping around the cave? What is happening there? What happens with Vern and her side of things? And is there a fallout to the way she intentionally misremembers Soul's story and Soul's own denial, and how he goes to his grave denying that he really did the wrong thing, even though he's denying himself and his own conscience? All these really interesting story ideas that, yes, the season 1 was uneven. It had its moments of not great. It had its moments of utterly fantastic, and this is the thing that still gets me the most is just going all the way back. I'm going back to the beginning of my sci-fi childhood fandom. Star Trek: The Next Generation, season 1, not that good. It's okay. What do they do? Did they cancel? I mean, somewhat, it's weird. It's wooden nostalgia. Do they cancel Star Trek: The Next Generation because season 1 is iffy? No, they keep going, and then by season 3 and 4, it's one of the best series of all time.
Yeah,
Here's the kicker for me: Clone Wars season 1. Can you imagine? Clone Wars season 1, and then Disney Plus? They say, and I'm getting hot under the collar here. If it's on Disney Plus, and they say, this show is kind of mid. I know it's animated. Just say for the sake of argument, it's kind of mid. I don't know. It's not getting the numbers in. Whatever. We're just gonna cancel it. We're gonna shuffle it off. Can you imagine if they canceled Clone Wars after season 1? What would happen? Like what we would have lost. So all that to say, incredibly short-sighted to just let. I mean, announced through deadline. I get they're announcing through deadline so that they'll diffuse the pushback, and so they don't get the direct pushback. They're getting it anyway. I'm on Threads. I'm putting that out there. Hashtag Save the Acolyte. I'm right here on YouTube saying to Lucasfilm, you bungled Disney. What are you doing? The big bungle for me isn't necessarily making a business decision. The big bungle for me is just dropping it without any sense of what's next. It's just saying it's over, and we have no idea if we're gonna get maybe a 2, 3, 4 episode something, or even maybe even a film would be wild, or some idea that they're still gonna look at. They're still looking. Just say we're looking at other options. Just say that, because enough of us. Like this show, it didn't get the numbers. It got hundreds of millions still. It wasn't billions or whatever, but nobody has billions, but it was up there. It got hundreds of millions worldwide. And those of us who were in High Republic obviously loved it more, but enough people who didn't also love this show. And to say at least give quarter to the folks who say nobody liked it, by not announcing anything, just to say, a good story gets axed because of a business decision, not simply gets say we're taking a pause to consider how we're going to, just thinking PR. So yeah, it sets a bad precedent is what it, Willow already set the precedent. This sets a bad precedent. I don't know. I mean, obviously Celebration. We want to go to Japan and we want to celebrate. But
I'm gonna be loud and clear with that. I think we should start a freaking chant in the middle of the Lucasfilm presentation. Just take the effort thing over. Everybody just starts yelling at the thing, and don't even let them speak for a good 10 minutes if we need to. Get the point across.
That's unprecedented. But if that's what needs to happen, to say, again, let me repeat myself. I understand the business decision. I understand maybe needing to step back and consider options, but give us a sense that this story is going to continue in some shape, the way it deserves, probably in live action. Continue it in phase 4 of the High Republic is not really not good enough. And I'm saying this as a book guy, right? Needs to say, okay, we're going to take time. Fine, give us that, but to just deadline dropped, it's the biggest not head scratch, the biggest I don't know what the word is, just angst-ridden frustration that we've had. That's the weird thing is all those other folks who've left the fandom already, they had all their frustrations. They came back to review bomb it on Rotten Tomatoes, but they're not here. We're the one now having the frustration of what the heck, what happened here. this is a great story and it's amazing potential.
Yep.
Season 2 could have been the greatest single series of Star Wars live action, of Star Wars television, period. It had that potential. And now we'll never know. So that's my 2 cents. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, okay, so the review bombers. Now, I know people don't want to say that has any effect on it, but it does. All right, so you have these people out there on the internet, before the show even came out, drove the score down to what, like a 10% or something?
Yeah, it's at 18.
Well, and I was bringing this up to my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And by the way, bless her soul, she had to deal with me for a good 2 hours, ranting nonstop. When I found this out, I said
That's
it to
the barbecue restaurant that we need to go.
At the restaurant, I was going on and on and on. It's like doom and gloom. That's certainly what I felt like. It's just like, but yeah, like when you go and you review bomb something, it really just, I don't know how Lucasfilm, I mean, yeah, it's great to have an audience score, but they got to do something about that. They have to put restrictions on it, because it is hurting the brand when you have people going on there before the show even airs and review bombing it. And then what's the average person gonna do, right? We all have limited time in our lives. A lot of us will go on and be like, oh, I only have time for one show. Is this show worth it? Let me check Rotten Tomatoes. Oh my gosh, it's a 50%. I'm not gonna waste my time.
Right. Yeah.
So there you go. Like, there's already people, and I know this for a fact. I talk to people that say this, like, they won't waste their time for shows like that. So when it's already out and the first episode has that many, and nowadays people look at critics and they don't go what the critics are saying on Rotten Tomatoes, as far as like, oh, it could still be 78%, but if the audience score is a 10%, I'm going to go with the people and think it's a crappy thing. So there is that effect, and I think Lucasfilm needs to do something about Rotten Tomatoes, because I think there are certain things where you can block the audience score for certain things that have come out. I think they have done that with certain movies or something, because it just seems like it's all over the place now. It's out of control. People don't have to like have any proof of watching something before downvoting it. Like, that just seems like a total flawed system. So I'm not saying that was the cause of it, but it certainly could have contributed to potential viewers maybe just not even giving it a chance. Because when those sorts of people start talking, saying it's bad, don't watch it, their friends listen to them and say, hey, I'll watch House of the Dragon instead. Right. I'll watch The Boys season 4 instead. They're getting way better reviews than this, and that is what is happening. Is we're starting to see this, but there's a lot of other things. Like, it just seems like streaming now has hit the freaking ceiling, and they didn't understand how it would work, and now just it's just not seeming like it's profitable at all.
Right.
I really feel like 2026 and beyond, there's a good potential we'll never see live action Star Wars again on there. And it might just be the platform to put on all the animated stuff, I feel like, anymore. Like, it's just
a direct to.
Yeah. I mean, I was throwing around this idea. Heck, I'll pay $30 to watch a season of Star Wars. If that's what it takes for me to know that there's going to be a storyline that will continue, that is going to happen, I'll gladly pay $30 for, like, what would it be, like maybe like 8 hours of television or whatever the price would be. I mean, maybe not more than 30, but I would pay 30 for it. Like, they got to start. They should start having talk. Like, they've tried doing that with the movies back during COVID. They charged 20 or 30 for a household. Do it with the series, for your premium series that costs $100+ million. If you want to recoup the money, maybe look into it doing that. I don't know what else they could do, you know, because at this point, the paying the monthly price doesn't seem like it's, and they're raising the prices, and they're doing that often, and it seems like it's still not defending against stupid decisions like things being canceled like this. So
yeah, I mean the kind of that pay-per-view model that could work. It could backfire. It could be like, oh, I don't want to pay for the casual fans. That's
true.
Whereas the casual fans, they're gonna line up for Mandalorian and Grogu. They're gonna line up for Heir to the Empire. We know that, right? We know they're gonna go. The Rey film. Oh my goodness, that's gonna go off the charts. So that's what they're looking
yeah.
at, right? Like Deadpool, Wolverine, really went gangbusters. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, again, I get it. It's just, yeah, to think about a different model of what to do in that way. Jesse says maybe it will be sequel novels in comics. Again, that's kind of my phase 4 idea, to have just High Republic phase 4 effectively as this epilogue, is this closing the pin on it, because that is how the series really functions for those of us who've read the books and the comics and are caught up, and I'm caught up. High Republic. The show does function as an epilogue in a way, but also leading into the prequels, leading into the Skywalker saga. It really does point there so well. So
maybe they'll just make a new series of books.
Yeah.
Don't call it the High Republic. Call it like the Emergence of Evil, or so. I just come up with some cool fancy name and just announce it as like, this is the follow-up like 5-book series involving Darth Plagueis and different things like that, and then that could make a splash. But this is really I hate to be negative, but this has really shaken my what is it, optimism with specifically live action Star Wars. Like, this really takes a lot of wind out of the sails, and it started off that morning, because I don't know if you've seen, there was an article that Tamara Morrison was on the record for saying, yeah, I'm not in the Mandalorian Grogu because my show didn't get enough clicks.
Right.
And Lucasfilm doesn't want to use me anymore, because essentially, I'm paraphrasing, he doesn't want to use me anymore because my show wasn't successful enough, or something to that regard. And that hit me hard, because like, this guy is such a great person. And for him to like, I like how he was honest, like going out there on record to actually say that. I'm like, good, but like, still, like, that sucks. And then I got this news like 7 hours later. Like, are you effing kidding me? Like, what is happening? Like, it was just like blow after blow on the same day. And there's 2 good examples that get me to lose a lot of hope in Star Wars, because you have a series that is based on, I would consider Boba Fett a legacy character. He has been a character from the original trilogy. Everybody loves him. Everybody was excited about the show. A lot of people like that show, and it never got a season 2.
Right.
And that's a legacy character, right? There's a lot of people out there that'll make the argument of, oh, I've seen that already, I want to watch a new story. And then here comes the Acolyte. This is a brand new story in a new era, all these new characters, all these new awesome designs and everything. And now there's people out there saying, no, I don't want to watch that. What do people want to watch? You got the original trilogy stuff not working. You got new stuff not working. What are we getting now? I just don't understand like what people want, because apparently they're not happy with anything, and now the entire brand is suffering because people just can't accept that not everything's going to be for them, and they have to go out there and they have to contest everybody's opinion. And what gets me though freaking crazy, there's people that are happy about a Star Wars series getting people are celebrating. There's people out there making videos about, I'm so happy that the Acolyte. What are you? This is a freaking franchise that you have no investment for. It's not a sports team. It's what the heck is happening here with the world? I just don't understand how people could be happy about something Star Wars and new getting canceled. What are you excited about? It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Well, they're non-dairy creamers, and this was a great thing. Like, first year seminary, a classmate of mine was all, because I was going in hot, being all this theologian's beliefs are bonkers, and I just, whatever. And he was all, you don't be a non-dairy creamer, and by that he really meant, non-dairy creamer is something that's defined by what it is. It's non-dairy, right? And we really define ourselves by what we're against so much. This is the thing that got me about this is, even Lucasfilm being against those kinds of reviews and those kinds of reactions. And so what did they do? They tried to kill what they hate by mitigating those reviews instead of saving what they love. And that's, saving the show that I'm sure people at Lucasfilm love this show. They do. I will say, I mean, what people want is comfort. What they want is, what they want is The Force Awakens. It's sad to say. What they want is something that will remind them of when they were 10 and curling up in their parents' living room watching this thing. Now, don't get me wrong. Whenever I go visit my mom, we have a tradition where we go and watch a TNG episode for fun. But also watching Strange New Worlds and Discovery, because it's given us new, interesting stuff. That's the thing about The Acolyte, and especially episode 3. Why I love it so much. I love that episode so much. It really looks people in the eye, and by The Last Jedi, same thing. Looks people in the eye and says, "Is this what you really care about? What do you think? Why do you, well, even to say, what do you think this is about, and who do you think is at fault, and do you think the Jedi are at fault? Do you think the Jedi should end? Do you think this show, this episode, the story is accusing the Jedi of squeezing out women of color, and how dare they be so woke and woke and liberal elite and all that? Also, there's an election happening in that country over there. That's probably somewhere in the background too, of just, and by that I mean we're deeply polarized. And like I've said this about this show before, it especially questions questions our confirmation biases.
Yeah.
And it picks at them, and that's really uncomfortable. That's really that's what that reaction is. And people, and I find it uncomfortable too. But then I find I get a kick out of just reflecting and trying to think about what this might say and what this might mean. I was disappointed in Soul, specifically in Soul, for continuing to deny that he did anything wrong. Right? I was disappointed in the character. I really enjoyed that twist was given to me, because it's really fascinating. Oh shoot, are we? That's residential school denialism. That's slavery denialism or whatever. I'm sure they exist, right? And that's it's people just want to be easy and comfortable, and there's that, or and the thing is, or two things. They want the big event, the big film event. There is something to be said. Again, this is the thing is okay, if you're moving to live action, big screen, moving all the live action stuff to big screen, at least give us to say we love this story and where it's going. We're taking our options. Again, give us that. I'll say this, because of that, and I think this was Dom was saying this too, and he'll probably say this when he can. And I think Joel was saying this too. A show that is mid isn't going to make the cut anymore. A show that has great moments and not so great moments, like episode 4 was okay. Kenobi had a bit of a sagging middle, for example. Solo was another example of a story of a way this was axed, right? That was live action. It was the big screen. But like you mentioned, at the same time as as the shows, it's House of the Dragon and The Boys. And I haven't seen The Boys yet, but everyone's telling me I should see The Boys because that's fun. I think House of the Dragon is 10 out of 10, 10s across the board.
Yeah.
That is the type of show, that is what live action streaming can be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the studios are going to see that and say, it's only a show of that quality that will actually bring the dollars in. And it has to be of the best quality to bring the dollars in. So there are people, if I had to subscribe to HBO just to watch House of the Dragon, I would. I subscribe to Apple to watch Ted Lasso, and different things. So, it has to be that quality. You and I subscribing to Disney Plus to watch The Acolyte, right? But not everybody will. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so oh gosh. There's bad signs already. I don't know if you've seen this, but Disney has deleted all the Acolyte merch on
the website
Disney.com. If you search Acolyte right now, nothing pops up.
You got the insider issue, right?
Yeah,
that was all Acolyte, and I think next issue too.
Yeah. This issue, next issue's all Acolyte. They had all that stuff at San Diego Comic-Con. They already announced several months in advance. I don't know how this is going to go, but Manny Jacinto is going to be at Celebrate.
Yeah.
That poor soul has to go out there and represent a show that died. Like, that's horrible. And he's under contract. Like, he's got to do it probably, or else he's got to pay money.
Say you don't have to. Right. They could do that.
Like that's horrible. Like going all the way there to hopefully celebrate a season 2 and then doesn't happen. It's like,
so yeah.
But I'm just fearful that Disney and Lucasfilm are going to be doubling down on the safe stuff.
Yeah.
We're not going to see any cool, unique things that kind of push the boundary of Star Wars anymore. It's going to be the same old smuggler story in The Empire Strikes Back. It's going to be the same old Jedi story, the same old thing over and over and over again. Just when we got a glimpse at the future of what could happen, it's too much of a risk that they're not going to try this anytime soon to do anything like this, I feel like.
See, I don't know about that. I see what you're saying. I think what they're going to do is put it on the big screen, say, well, you've already paid your $20 to go see this movie, so you're gonna might as well see it, and then and that's the thing, you can do it in animated. So I hope you're wrong. Obviously you hope you're wrong. I know you hope you're wrong. But I hope so. I think especially the James Mangold Jedi epic film. I mean, that I'm really looking forward to for obvious reasons. And here's another thing, and it doesn't make all the money. You got all of Team Luminous coming out and saying, yeah, this sucks, this is the worst. But the books are still coming. Phase 3 is still coming. The end of Phase 3 is still coming. There's literally the next thing coming out on Monday or Tuesday. Right?
Yep.
And then, of course, all the prequel novels. So, that's another thing, is the books are always going to be a place in comics where they always be able to do things, so they know. Yeah, because that's the thing, is when it comes to fiction, sci-fi, and fiction novels, in the much smaller market scale wise, drastically compared. But I know E.K. Johnston, she would say, her Star Wars novels, like, exponentially outsell the rest of her novels because it's Star Wars, so there's definitely still a market. There's still, for some reason, there's still a market for these hardcover paper books and these single issue comics. So we're still there and we're still willing to be pressed and challenged with these stories. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, damn it, sometimes I wish that Disney didn't have Star Wars, because George Lucas would say, I don't give a F about any of you people. I'm making season 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There you go. He could do whatever he wants because it's his company. He wouldn't have to worry about shareholders. And it's just... That's what and that's also happening in the game industry. I mean, Xbox today just basically almost, without really claiming it, they're going third party. They're not even like doing first party games only on Xbox. Now all their games are basically hitting PlayStation because they basically admitted like they're not making enough money to sell games just on their system. Now they got to expand it, and a lot of people are pissed because it's like, wait, I bought this Xbox. Like, what am I investing in now? Because now your games are coming to PlayStation, which has arguably better games anyway. So what do I even have an Xbox anymore? So it's just like, I don't know. I guess I'm just bummed out in general about just the way the world's going with business because it just seems like everybody's taking a loss. Everybody's not being happy. It's just like I don't know. It's just like the damn comics, the books, and the video games are the only thing I can ever depend on. That's the things. Those are the things that have got me through the dark times of Star Wars, and I feel like I'm in another dark age now. I feel like Skeleton Crew. Yeah, I'll be happy to watch it, but that's for sure as hell ain't gonna get a season 2, I would imagine. Like, what comes next? Like 2026, I would imagine, is when Ahsoka's coming out, and then nothing. Like they would have to announce something by now if there's another series coming out after Ahsoka, because it takes so damn long. I mean, they announced this Acolyte back in 2020. We finally got it 4 years later, 4.5 years later, actually, or whatever. Well, actually 3.5. But anyway. Yeah, so it's just the future is just murky, and I'm still darn angry about all this, to put it bluntly.
It's the way the world works is, these companies, they buy up more and more assets, and by their nature, they've gotten where they are by being incredibly conservative, and I don't mean politically. I just mean playing the safe play, unless again something like Deadpool Wolverine. That's actually a safe play. That's a safe bet that it would rake in all the dough because it knows how popular it was, and it knows that film. I mean, that's another thing people want is nostalgia, and that film is explicitly about saying goodbye to this whole era of the Fox X-Men storytelling.
But they showed it in a trailer. It's all right.
Yeah, no, it was really brilliantly done that way they did it. Yeah, again, it's just so. Is it a dark age? I mean, maybe if you feel that way, that's the thing. Is paper canon has always carried it during the writer's strike. This podcast right here, was celebrated the way paper canon, the actor strike, celebrating the way paper canon carries Star Wars. I mean, again, all the way back to 1992 or whatever, 1991 or whatever it was. The Thrawn trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, would this work better on cable? Like, honestly, like I feel like cable, these series got greenlit way more with multiple seasons. I mean, I love the heck out of the show, but I couldn't imagine Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doing all that well, and it got like 6 or 7 seasons, and by the end of it, I mean, who the hell's still watching besides me and a few other people? It feels like certain things like that, it's like maybe Star Wars should just be on cable. They don't do that anymore, but apparently the advertisements through cable make them more money. I guess I don't even want to pretend that I know anything about this, but I'm just grasping for straws to see like how Star Wars live action TV could even survive anymore,
Yeah. Well, I think it could survive by being as consistently spectacular as House of the Dragon, which it just hasn't been, frankly. And that's part of it. To be the marquee draw to subscribe to Disney Plus, right? House of the Dragon, even here we don't have to subscribe to HBO. We can get it through our other providers. But like Toronto city buses, like the bus stations, we got House of the Dragon posters.
Oh,
it really is everywhere. It was the marquee show. Now, The Mandalorian was that for Disney Plus in 2019. Does Disney Plus even have a marquee show? Does it have too many things going on? That's another question. I mean, maybe
Jackson and the Olympians is probably the only good show they've had in the last year. If we're looking at just straight up like audience score unanimously, I think that's like the top one. Hey, and guess what? That got renewed. It's like son of a
sure. So maybe that's it. But I can follow along. We'll see how that does. It comes out in a month.
I have a feeling it's not going to do that well. Because the same people that are talking crap about Acolyte are probably not going to like a female run show like She-Hulk. I feel like we're going to get the same reactions that people have with She-Hulk.
Which they also have with Marvel, right? Which is a film. Same nonsense. But it's a good question. Just see what they do, where they end up going with this. what the business model is. I mean, look, let me tell you. So, well, I guess to say, yeah, Clone Wars season 1, that was on cable. That was funded by George. Next Generation season 1, that was on cable. That was because that was popular. Doing those 2 touch points there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, it's a good question, but also funded by George. Maybe we need George back.
Yeah, there we go. That's the way to make unanimously everybody happy. Just get George Lucas to come back, and then all wrongs will be righted. Because I have a lot of friends, frankly, that have dropped off of Star Wars because they just aren't happy with what the live action stuff has done in general. They're like, it's just a subpar quality for us. We're dropping out.
I mean,
so,
I'm kidding.
And they are the type of people that will be like, if they get George Lucas or something crazy like that happens, start canonizing some Legends books or adapting Legends books, like that'll bring people back. Like, I feel like Lucasfilm after the Mandalorian, what do they have? Honestly, like after the Mandalorian is done, like what's their 10-year plan? Because they've got to do something huge to get these people that have fallen through the cracks.
I mean, well, yeah, they are bringing a Legend story back. It's called Heir of the Empire.
True.
And the Legend story, right? The paper story that carried the franchise, carried the brand.
True.
For years. Bringing George Lucas back, people, they might have a tall, stocky frog guy who speaks weird and be like, "Oh, who's this guy?" And Darth Vader's a little kid. So I don't know if that'll be that popular. I'm referring to the prequels, by the way. Yeah, but here's the thing: is I think about why Ahsoka got renewed for season 2. I mean, that's in part because it's Filoni, right? He's in Lucasfilm, so maybe that's part of the thing. Is with Leslie, she's not in Lucasfilm; she's independent. That could have been another thing. You have to have the choice between the 2 of them. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. And also, there's just too many streaming services. That's another problem.
Yeah.
Too expensive. So that's something with cable. It was one thing. But here's the thing. I mean, so here's what's really nice. I'm guessing in the US is an equivalent. In Canada, we can watch House of the Dragon on something called Crave, which lets us actually stream things on demand.
No.
From cable. There's no like kind of, well, because I know, for example, I know like NBC, if you subscribe to NBC on cable, you get streaming access.
True.
There's probably packages like that. Like we have equivalents here too. Yeah. Maybe we just, maybe in Canada we just have it better. I don't know. I didn't have to subscribe to HBO to watch House of the Dragon. So
what?
Yeah, I had to,
we just have it on cable here, so we just get the password. I could watch it on cable. I could watch the streaming.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You can watch it streaming because you have it on cable.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I don't know. Yeah, just even anyway. Different options, different possibilities. Long story short, for me, just tell us what you're doing with this story, Lucasfilm. Just give us a bone here.
Yeah, because if you look back, okay, did we need a solo Star Wars story 2 and 3? No, because we see where Han Solo ends up later in life. Did we need a Rangers of the New Republic? Nah, not really, because they could just fold all those characters and events into other series. Yeah. Do we need a Book of Boba Fett? Same thing. Oh, we could just fold those characters into another storyline in another show. Do we need an Acolyte? Yeah, we need an Acolyte. There's a gigantic cliffhanger that is basically shows us that Plagueis has 2 different freaking apprentices. He's got Palpatine, but he's also got this guy. So what the heck happens? Like, we got to know.
The thing I've always thought is, let's make a canon get James Luceno in to make a canon version of his novel. Just to make some things. Yeah, all have to be changed around.
Here's the thing, though. I just feel like Lucasfilm, they would have done that stuff by now if they hadn't already. It's been 10 years. And if you've looked closely at the canon they have, all the canon they have, from my knowledge, doesn't actually rewrite really much of Legends at all. Like they respect. It seems like that is great. They respect the authors of those stories to just feel like, because if they just like redid something and let another writer like write it, like how bad would you feel? As like maybe they wouldn't care, but like if one of their stories was completely rewritten, you know what I mean? Because I noticed this with I was thinking about this when I was playing the Bounty Hunter game, like the whole thing with the Bando Gora and all that stuff. Like they haven't they haven't overwritten that. So technically in my head canon, that still exists. Like they do a lot of that stuff with Lucasfilm, like all this stuff in the past, at least. Now, yeah, stuff with the Skywalker saga, that has been rewritten. But the stuff in the past, you can count that as headcanon if you want, because none of it has been tranced upon, really.
They're even releasing those novels, like the Essential Legends collection.
Yeah.
I do think those, but still in my mind, that's still, not like entirely canon, but I do see what you're saying. I think then that would make it easy for James Luceno to come in and say, okay, these details need to be tweaked here or there.
Yeah. But, especially if he was the one that wrote it, like it wouldn't feel bad. But if they got somebody else to write it, it's like, wait, they're just like dancing on James Luceno's story. Like I'd be mad.
It would have to be James Luceno. The thing is about the 10 years, I think actually now would be about the right time. This is what I felt like. I just read Plagueis. Actually, probably I want to say after the changeover. Like I read it a little later. I thought, okay, well, there's this changeover happening, but this is so beloved right now. It's so fresh. They won't touch it. They'll let time kind of take care of things. Just let it pass through time a little bit. Now, 10 years later, Leslie Headland's touched it on live action. So is it time for, and she's touched it in line with everything, she said, but yeah, he's immune. Darth Plagueis is immune. He is the master of Palpatine. So let's at least do that. You gotta have a bit of a suggestion, like young Yoda, or tying things in. Not necessarily young Yoda because he's too old by then. But all right, I think we've beaten this dead horse for now. I don't know if you have any more thoughts.
Nah, I'll have thoughts on my own podcast later in the week.
I'll be interested to see again how this, because April's a long time from now. I mean, it isn't, but it also is. There's a lot of momentum. I mean, who knows October? What kind of presence there'll be there, and what kind of conversation we'll be having, at the High Republic panel, if there's a High Republic panel at New York, if there's, or at least Lucasfilm Publishing. Not that they had any say in this at all. They're fans. They're just Team Luminous is as disappointed about this as we are.
Yeah.
And they've done a great job of being public with that. Michael Siglain tweeting, "I love the High Republic." So yeah, it's an interesting moment, just like Soul disappointing me and Vernestra disappointing me. It's an interesting moment. Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger disappointing me. It's Bob Iger.
Yeah, it's very telling. I because at D23, Kathleen Kennedy didn't step out on stage once for like any of the Star Wars and she's always done it in the past. It's almost like she knew this was happening and didn't want to like be on stage. Like she was like, let me distance myself from the public a little bit because they're gonna get dropped with a bomb in about a week and a half. So,
and again, I'm very hesitant to blame her for anything, in part given the discourse. This to me seems much more like a Bob Iger.
Oh yeah,
after Solo, right? The Solo film, which again he took the wrong lesson from that. He really did. The lesson wasn't people don't want these stories. The lesson was let's not rush them out 6 months after the previous film.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the interesting thing. Whenever a comic gets delayed by a month, I'm like, okay, fine, good. They're taking time to figure it out. Those kinds of things. So. Yeah. Anyway, you have any last thoughts for now?
Mm-mm.
Okay. One last thing. I promise. And it's gonna be happy. It's gonna be fun. You switch gears, shift gears here a little bit. As promised, we're an hour 39 in. But I got the day off tomorrow because I'm going to Fan Expo Canada tomorrow.
Woo!
I mean, I can get in at 2, so I'm gonna have a nice little drive over there and pick up my press pass and all that. Yeah, Con Before the Con, Fan Expo Canada 2024. I'll just run this through. Chris, if you have anything you'd like to react to, feel free. But I'll do this. Again, also to say thank you again to Fan Expo Canada, to Touchwood PR and the team there. They've always treated, Dom was saying they've always treated him great. It's a con. There's always issues at a con, but this year they really stepped up with the guests, especially for Star Wars. This is actually 2016, 2017 when they brought the Rebels season 4 premiere in, and they got Filoni and Vanessa Marshall and them in. So that was great. And Mark Hamill and Anthony Daniels the year before, 2016. They've outdone that, I think. So let me just list this through. These are all the Star Wars folks coming across the border to this here city. Bryce Dallas Howard, Rosario Dawson, Giancarlo Esposito, Emily Swallow, the man himself, Tamora Morrison. I've seen Emily Swallow live in person. I sang karaoke with her. Tim I've never seen. I'm really stoked to see Tim and Giancarlo.
Oh my gosh. You get to walk right by him, hopefully, and see where he's signing and walk right by us.
Yeah, well, I'll see the massive signing line. I never do those signings. It's not worth it for me. But they have Q&As. But it keeps going. Video game animation stars. So Josh Gad, I mentioned him. He's coming for Frozen, but also he's the Imperial in Rebels. That guy. Cam Monahan, Ashley Eckstein.
Yeah, Cal Kestis.
Yeah, Cam Monahan, Ashley Eckstein, D. Bradley Baker. Ashley was at Fan Expo last year. That was interesting. Her and James Arnold Taylor and Matt Lanter in the middle of the strike, and I guess because they're kind of a different union, they gave a Celebration level Clone Wars panel. So it basically they gave out this poster and everything. It was fantastic. It was one of the best panels Q&As I've been to at a con outside of Celebration or whatever. So this year, Ashley Eckstein and D. Bradley Baker are doing a Snips and Rex duo Q&A.
Oh,
really fantastic. It's gonna be fun. And then moving right along, prime time for Tractor Beam, whole load of comic creators, and I will go up to them and say hi, and hopefully get a quote or two. We'll see. Kim Lashley, who's done some Vader variants. Toronto's own Steve McNiven, legendary.
Prelude to the War of the Bounty Hunters.
Yeah, the War of the Bounty Hunters. That guy there. You can see it, and also the kitchen sink variant for ongoing 25. Adam Gorham, who did some Vader covers. Dave McCaig, who I think did a lot of older comics. Rodney Barnes and Mark Guggenheim.
Oh wow!
I'm really looking forward to seeing
Mark Guggenheim is a real cool guy. I've met with him before.
And he's the one most active. I mean, Rodney's writing Inquisitors, but Mark's written stuff, and apparently
he's writing something new.
Yeah, he just turned in a manuscript. So see if I can get something.
Maybe he's writing the ongoing.
Hey, why not?
I mean, he wrote all of the Arrowverse. He's able to write big ass epics. So
I didn't know he wrote Arrowverse. It's good to know.
Yeah, dude, that's where he get like the Arrow and stuff. I'm like, that's why he writes those Han Solo comics so well, because they almost feel like a television series the way he writes them.
He wrote the Arrowverse television series. Mark Guggenheim.
Yeah,
I did not know that. That's one of my dad's only massive genre fandom. That's the only thing he likes. Genre fandom. He likes Star Wars too, but he for some reason got into Arrowverse. Massive. He's working on Arrowverse. Okay. So yeah, and that's the nice thing about these cons, like at New York or at Artist Alley, they're right there. Most of them, if you just give them, if you present just your comic book, they'll sign it for free for the most part.
Yeah.
So that's like Comic Alley is actually one of my favorite parts of this con. Not to be outdone, shout out to Erin Leffler. She's an indie artist He does some Star Wars. She was on a Star Wars panel last year, I believe. She does a lot of Taylor Swift art too, which is fun. I'll get to that in a second. And then also Roger Christian, who was a set decorator and second unit director and all around behind the scenes guru. Second AD, I think, possibly for A New Hope. Oh no, set decorator for A New Hope. Second unit AD, possibly I think for Phantom Menace. I can't quite know. He's been around and he's doing a panel specifically on Star Wars behind the scenes stuff. So that'll be good. Not too many Star Wars fan panels, oddly enough. I mean, maybe because they all got these massive, the talent, the on-screen talent.
Mm-hmm.
So none of mine and Ash's High Republic panels got picked, but that's okay.
No.
That's okay. We have ideas. Here, Lucasfilm, take a page, Lucasfilm. We're considering our options of how to present this content. We'll talk about how to present that content. Ash, Lou, and I are chatting about that other fandom of ours. Speaking of Taylor, we're doing a Taylor Swift panel Saturday at 3 p.m. in room 705. So if you're there, come say hi. Also, good shout out to our friend Din from F105. So he's put together a crew to talk about George Lucas's DIY. So this is a Star Wars fan panel a little bit. The DIY influence on future filmmakers and artists. So that'll be Friday, also in room 705 in the South Building. If you're in Toronto and want to come out, there's an after party at Lola's in Kensington Market Saturday at 8 p.m. So thought I'd get that mention in. Yeah, I'll be at Din's panel. I'll be watching it there just to support. And then talking about Taylor. That one got through. Why not? Because only Ash and I were the only ones to submit Taylor Swift fan panels. So hopefully we don't get much competition next time because we still want to keep going with that. So and you mentioned like some Ubisoft video game folks. I guess they didn't have anything to do with Star Wars, right?
Wait, Ubisoft video game folks? Victor Lucas and Rod Ferguson. Well, Victor Lucas runs the Electric Playground, which is a Canadian video game show that went back into the 90s. Reviews on the Run, Electric Playground, Judgment Day with Tommy Tallarico. Great stuff. But he's connected to Star Wars in that he interviewed like a ton of Star Wars people. Like back in the day, he would go to like the studios and they would actually have like Star Wars like visual effects in their reviews, which was really fun. Like they would be like in the office of the developers and they'd be having like lightsaber battles and blaster fights like in the cubicles and stuff. Like it was really cool. And then Rod Ferguson has absolutely nothing to do with Star Wars. He was running the coalition at Xbox, which does the Gears of War franchise. Now he's the head of the Diablo franchise over at Blizzard. So those guys will be there. So yeah, if I was there, I'd definitely go and check those out because they're pretty fun to listen to, even if you don't really know much about the stuff they make. So
Tim Morrison's going to be there. That's amazing. Speaking of the guy with Boba Fett and the clicks and all. There we go. So it's gonna be fun. I'm not quite sure what kind of coverage I'll get, but I'll probably I'm still waiting on some things, some details for some things, but definitely at the very least next Wednesday. This brings us to this. There aren't any new comics. It's just so if my insider comes in, we'll do that, and then maybe just Fan Expo Canada recap and chat. See if Dom's free. I don't know.
Oh wait! I can get on the channel on the video, and I can talk about Star Wars Outlaws because I will have played it for 24 hours at that point.
We can do that. Sure, Outlaws.
So you can talk about your convention, and then I can talk about the video game. How's that sound?
Why the heck not? I'm doing this right now.
Yes, because Outlaws comes out on Monday at midnight. So I'll have a whole 24 hours with that freaking game.
Have you had to play any of it at all, or you weren't able to play anything in San Diego, right?
No. Our good friend and Our good pal, friend of the show, Hannah, was able to go to an event in Australia, of all places, where she's at, which is really cool because they don't usually have a lot of events out there. So, yeah, you could go check out the race side. She has a lot of hands-on footage of her playing the game and whatnot, or talking about the game at the very least. So,
Hannah race side of the Star Wars Underworld podcast network. There you go. The fandom fam. Yeah, it's good that she got an event in Sydney. I always we kind of still chirping about how they didn't get that Lego special. You know, I mean, no pressure, Chris. Full review. I don't know. I don't know how much you'll have done.
I have to work, unfortunately, so I'll have severe game time cut out of my schedule. But I got to make money to buy these comic books, I suppose.
Well, on that note, like, do you have any kind of like streaming plans for Outlaws or?
Well, what I plan on doing is what I did with the Bounty Hunter remaster. Is I will play it without any distractions all the way through. I'll take game clips, I'll upload a review, and then whenever and again, I don't want to commit to anything because it's a very busy fall. I have a lot of other games on my list to play, but maybe one day I will stream it when I get less busy with other games. So there you go.
I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to watching a walkthrough of the story. I know it's an open world, so
the hard part is of a walkthrough. This is an extremely long game. That's going to take me like probably 60 hours to beat. So by the time I'm done doing 60 hours of one game, I'm going to be kind of burnt out, I would imagine. So I wouldn't want to like play it right away again for you guys. But I at least will have my thoughts and lots of clips that I'll record as I'm playing it the first time through. So, the other games have been easy to get through. Like Battlefront 2's campaign's like 5 hours. Squadrons is like 4 hours. Fallen Order's like about 15. Survivor's like another 15. This game's like 30 or 40. I'm like, yeah, it's not going to be exactly easy for me to play through this game on a stream. So
I mean, from what I understand, it could be like the wide range, right? It could be 30 hours or it could be 60 hours, depending on
and I'm going to try to do as much as I can, obviously. So that's where my first playthrough is going to take quite a long time. So
yeah. Well, actually, I mean, what we could do, just throw on Audible. Well, I guess if we'll have the High Republic Young Readers done yet. Like, because that comes out Tuesday. I don't know if I'll have that done yet. So never mind.
You'll have that done before I do, man, because I'm gonna put everything on the back burner until I finish Outlaws. I'm even going as crazy as to stay off Twitter.
Really?
Come on Monday, I mean, because that's when reviews go out. And I've been spoiled for freaking Fallen Order. I'm not dealing with that crap again. All right, I know people complain, oh, spoilers. I know enough. Hey, I'll just avoid the spoilers, but not using Twitter. I can do it.
There are multiple reasons to do that.
And it'll feel a lot better after this week, because let me tell you, I'm getting riled up sometimes just scrolling through the interwebs there.
Just get off Twitter between now and November 6th.
Yeah.
November 7th. Give it a few days. No, I don't know. I'm watching the DNC a little bit. It's fun. Anyways, speaking of real world stuff. Yeah, so all that to say, also then, whatever I end up being able to do with Fan Expo, I'll at least be able to recap it next Wednesday.
And I'll be able to tie it in. It's not like talking about this game is going to have nothing to do with comics, because as we know, Crimson Dawn and Kira are in there. You have a lot of things that tie into War of the Bounty Hunter. So I'll have my notebook ready as I'm playing the game, and I'm going to be jotting notes as I come across certain dialogue and different Easter eggs. I'll be sure to keep notes.
Yeah. The High Republic ship.
Oh yes. I got to figure out if that's something we've learned about before in another book or whatnot. I'm sure it probably will be connected, and yeah.
So it's not completely irrelevant to Tractor Beam, is what you're saying.
Exactly. It all connects.
Yeah. So yeah. Again, so that's the plan for next week. If I get my insider, we'll talk about that too. But yeah, looking forward to con again. By this time tomorrow, I'll probably. Maybe the football game will be done. I'll be going. So also, just a little bit of a thing. Toronto's going crazy. We'll go crazy the next weekend because, Fan Expo Canada is on. Canadian National Exhibition, which is our state fair.
What is that?
It's our state fair, effectively. that's going to be hopefully bonkers. I've heard some bad that it isn't being as big this year. And then Jays are still playing, so this is that last weekend in August that everything comes together. So hopefully I can actually get around at all. But yeah, gonna be so this time tomorrow I'll probably be eating my Dole Whip at CNE, but also having gone through the preview day ish of Fan Expo Canada. So looking forward to that. I'll see what kind of content we make, and then got Outlaws next week. If you read Ahsoka, if you're reading Ahsoka, Chris, are you reading Ahsoka? Are you picking it up?
Well, I am gonna pick it up. I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up next week or just wait to go to the store because it's not out of my way. It's on my way to work, but I'll probably be playing Outlaws until the minute I have to go to work. We'll see how far I get. Just I gotta go to work now. Gotta go. Shut it off.
From home. No, you don't have that kind of job. Fair. All right. Well, we'll keep everyone updated about what on earth we do. Also, then this is a good segue. Good show. I'll definitely be posting Star Wars stuff on Ion Cannon Instagram, probably stories, and then everything else. MNEUG1138 Instagram, any kind of Star Trek or Marvel or whatever over there. Probably won't be live tweeting panels, but if someone says a doozy, if Tim says something about something, I'll be sure to maybe I'll whip it out quickly and tweet it, and maybe tell Ben to retweet it. We'll see what happens. So keep it locked. Yeah, there and at the SW. And then this Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, right on the Star Wars Underworld YouTube channel. You can check out the Iron Cannon podcast with Joel and a special guest, hopefully, if he can make it. My voice is going. This is definitely our record. Thankfully, I don't have to get up tomorrow morning. There we go.
I'll be up for a while now, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's fair. Great show, Chris. As always, where can they find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me over on Twitter, ducking spoilers for Star Wars Outlaws. Bring back the Black Sun. That's all I care about. Bring back the Black Sun. They're being very conspicuously interesting without mentioning them. But anyway, yeah, you can find me on Twitter talking about video games, skateboarding, and all the things in between. Find all my content mainly on youtube.com/StarRaptor, just like it's spelled in this video. Make sure you spell it that way, or else you're going to pull up a lot of videos on bird Pokemon. So there you go. I got nothing else in the cooker here because I'm basically just batten down the hatches until Monday to play this game. So I got my podcast coming out on Sunday, which is going to be more, I would say tune in, but I feel like it's just going to be a depressing episode, but there will be an episode you can listen to on Sunday at 7 p.m.
There's
Eastern.
Something about, there is a thing about misery loves company, right? That's why hot takes are so popular, but misery loves company so we can I'm not alone in feeling this is the dumbest thing Lucasfilm's ever done. I don't know if that's true. It's the most frustrating, annoying.
Yes.
But so feel free, please do check that out. Also check out on the Star Wars Culture channel, Marty and Ian, they just launched tonight. Check out their brought in some interesting, they got some interesting structured segments and a little bit of news, a little bit of kind of top 10s, top 3s, some interesting things. So please do support them as Marty's done such great work for us. So happy to plug him there. And then next week, I mean, go to your comic book store if you want. Pick up the video game if you want. Pick up Ahsoka. I'll get the variants I'll get Ahsoka number 5. I'm curious.
Yeah, pick up the new Star Wars book. What is it called? Beware of the Nameless or something like that.
Beware of the Nameless, that comes out Tuesday. That hopefully I'll get that shipped in Tuesday. Yeah, that looks good. So
hopefully, yeah.
Sometimes. But anyways, we're not quite at 2 hours. We're just under 2 hours.
We're dragging it out as long as we can for another 60 seconds if we need to.
I'm not done. Anyway, we've hit the record. I'm probably gonna go read something or whatever. Anyways, till then, Chris, it's been fun. See you next week. Avoid spoilers. Till then, happy gaming.